Back in 2023, Marcus Rashford was having the season of his life at Manchester United. He had become the face of the Red Devils, and his name was the great hope of English football. He was the local lad from Manchester who, with lightning pace and a contagious smile, had the world at his feet. His goals won cup finals, his charisma won hearts, and he was destined for greatness. But then, out of nowhere, the chaos arrived. The constant managerial changes and club-wide uncertainty chipped away at the confidence of the entire squad. His star faded, the critics sharpened their knives, and the player once tipped for the top became a question without an answer. What happened to Marcus Rashford? And more importantly, what does it take to revive a player everyone had written off? His career looked to be on the rocks. Manchester United decided to let him go, and his attempt to reignite the flame with a loan at Aston Villa was far too brief to make a lasting impact. It would be far from home, and the club that gave him his start, where he'd finally rediscover the form that took him to the top of the world game. To truly grasp the scale of his revival, we first need to remember just how far he fell. Rashford's final years at Manchester United were a perfect storm of chaos, both on and off the pitch. As is often the case with big talents, the problems weren't just about football. His personal life was rocked by tragedy. A source close to the player revealed he struggled with the death of his cousin Nathan and a good family friend in 2022. This, coupled with the end of a relationship with his childhood sweetheart, left him in a very fragile state. While the world saw a player in poor form, he was privately a human being dealing with deep emotional pain. But the club's instability was just as much to blame. Manchester United was a whirlwind of constant transitions and different managers, a situation Rashford himself described as a systemic problem. "Show me a successful team that just adapts," he said in an interview, lamenting that unlike the Sir Alex Ferguson era, the club had lost a clear and unified footballing philosophy. He even went so far as to say the club was in no man's land, with ever-changing ideas preventing players from developing a solid tactical foundation. His relationship with Erik ten Hag, which began with mutual support and development, soured over time, and Marcus found himself dropped to the bench for poor form and disciplinary issues. The arrival of Rúben Amorim after ten Hag was sacked was the point of no return. The new gaffer didn't hold back. He completely froze the Englishman out of the first team, claiming a lack of effort in training. Amorim even suggested, in a pretty brutal way, that a 63-year-old footballer would probably be higher up the pecking order. While the words were harsh, they weren't entirely baseless. Fans and club legends like Alan Shearer had already labelled him lazy for his lack of work rate, especially in big games. In a bid to get back on track, Rashford was loaned to Aston Villa, where he enjoyed a brief resurgence that even earned him a call-up to Thomas Tuchel's England squad. But his luck ran out as a hamstring injury cut his time at Villa Park short. His return to Manchester was bittersweet. The club wanted to sell him, but in the end, they had to settle for another loan. With the club desperate to offload him and his career on the ropes, the question was inevitable. Where would a player with so much talent but so little discipline end up? The answer, as it turned out, was the last place anyone expected. It was a move that sent shockwaves through the footballing world. In July 2025, it was announced that Marcus Rashford was joining Barcelona on a season-long loan with an option to buy. He arrived as the club's third choice after they failed to land Luis Diaz and Nico Williams. In Catalonia, the news was met with a mix of excitement and skepticism. Was Barca, a club known for its tiki-taka and possession-based game, really taking a punt on a player criticised for his lack of intensity? It seemed like a massive risk, but behind the move was one man determined to make it happen: Barcelona gaffer Hansi Flick. The German manager was the key figure in the transfer. Flick saw Rashford as a perfect profile to complement his attack, a player with explosive punch who could bring experience to a young front line. The German didn't just want another forward, he wanted a player with the qualities his system needed to once again dominate Europe. And more importantly, he believed Rashford wasn't a lost cause, but a rough diamond waiting to be polished. Before giving the green light, Flick gave him a direct warning. If he wanted to play, he'd have to work harder off the ball and show total commitment. Only after Rashford promised to meet these demands did Flick approve the deal. For Rashford, the decision was a no-brainer. It was a move he had dreamed of since he was a kid watching Barca on TV. I was clear on my preference from the very beginning, actually since January, he revealed in an interview. The England international immediately felt at home and was buzzing to learn the Barca way from one of the best managers in the world. His ambition was perfectly aligned with the club's. They won so many trophies last year, and I see they have the ambition to win more this year. I'm really excited. Unlike other big money offers from Saudi Arabia, Rashford chose the sporting challenge. At his unveiling, he even said he had brought discipline back to my life, a sign of a massive shift in his mindset. The big question now was whether this new chapter would help him overcome his past demons, or if the weight of his history would drag him down again. The acid test came quickly. A massive Champions League clash against Newcastle, a team playing with ferocious intensity and looking to press Barca from the first whistle. It was a scenario that, in the past, would have been a living nightmare for an unmotivated Rashford. But this was a different Rashford. He had his smile back, and his teammates saw him putting in a savage shift in training. Hansi Flick didn't pin him down to a fixed position, he gave him freedom. At Manchester United, the club often tried to fit him into various roles with little success, leading to confusion about his best position. Now at Barca, he's been given the freedom to operate as a left winger, his preferred spot. From there, he's become a lethal weapon in Flick's system. His best quality is undoubtedly his ability to drive at defenders at a frightening pace, a skill that's nearly impossible to stop. In Flick's system, Rashford thrives on the space created up front. When he has meters to run and take players on, he's unplayable. His vision allows him to pick out the perfect pass for a teammate making a late run, just like the chance he created for Tielemans against PSG during his time at Villa, when he burst past defenders from his own half. But his talent isn't just about pace. He's a technically gifted player with a great touch and the ability to finish. His transition was so smooth that despite being a week behind the others physically in pre-season and being subbed off on his debut to protect him, he managed to average 10.6 touches in the opposition box per game. That's a stat that shows Flick's philosophy is all about getting Marcus into dangerous areas. The match against Newcastle at St James's Park was the perfect example of the new Rashford. Without their starman Lamine Yamal, Barcelona was struggling to get a foothold in the game. Newcastle's high-pressing game and physical style had them on the ropes in the first half, and it took a few heroic saves from Joan Garcia to keep the score level. At half-time, it was 0-0, and Barca hadn't managed a single shot on target. They needed a moment of magic. Someone had to break the mold and create something from nothing. That someone was Marcus Rashford. In one of his many interviews as a United player, he admitted that his two biggest technical weaknesses were playing with his left foot and heading the ball. In the 58th minute, Koundé whipped in a ball that Marcus rose to meet with his head, opening the scoring with an unexpected finish to bag his first goal in a Blaugrana shirt. Flick, who might have been tempted to sub him off, kept him on, and just 9 minutes later, he produced a moment of pure class. Picking up the ball 20 yards from goal, he unleashed a guided missile that rattled off the underside of the bar and into Pope's net. It was his second of the night and his first Champions League brace in nearly 4 years. With two flashes of brilliance, a Barcelona team that had been second best was now 2-0 up. Rashford was the man of the match, breaking the deadlock with the only 2 shots on target Flick's side had managed. His performance was so impressive that when he was subbed off, the travelling Barcelona fans gave him a standing ovation. His career was, officially, back on track. Marcus Rashford's story is a reminder that sometimes a change of scenery is the only solution. In Manchester, the pressure, the criticism, and an unstable environment had completely worn him down. At Barcelona, he found a safe haven, a club that believed in his talent, a gaffer who gave him a clear role, expectations and responsibilities, and a system built to play to his strengths. His loan at Aston Villa, even though it was cut short by injury, gave him the perspective he needed. 6 months on, I feel everything is completely different, he said. But without that period in the middle, I wouldn't be feeling how I'm feeling now. His success at Camp Nou is no accident. It's the result of Hansi Flick's tactical masterplan, which exploits his biggest strengths: pace, dribbling, and the ability to play in open spaces. Instead of limiting him to one position, Flick's system gives him the freedom to roam, making him an unpredictable and complementary player in attack. And now, with his career back on the right path, there's only one thing left to decide. Marcus Rashford hasn't just saved his career at Barcelona, he's been reborn. His story is that of a talent who got got lost in the chaos of Manchester United and found himself again in the clarity of a new system. It's a reminder to every player out there that redemption is always possible. But with his loan deal at Camp Nou set to expire in 2026 and a buy option rumoured to be around £30 million, the big question is, will his performances be enough for Barca to make the investment and turn him into a permanent player? Will he be able to cement his place at Barcelona and become a key figure for years to come? His form has been fantastic, but Barcelona will need to make a huge effort to keep him. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for more content on the world of football. And if you believe Rashford's story is a perfect example of the impact an uncertain environment can have on a player, then you need to see the story of Andre Onana, a keeper who arrived at Manchester United with the reputation of being one of the best in the world, only for some to call him the worst keeper in the club's history within 2 seasons. To see the full breakdown of the factors that affected his form, click on this video right here.